Beloved, take a breath and let this moment settle in your spirit, because you didn't find this message by accident. Your presence here is not a fluke, it's not coincidence, it's confirmation. God orchestrated this exact second to speak to the part of you that's been quietly holding on. You are not wandering, you are being watched over, and what's about to unfold in your life is going to prove just how intentional heaven has been. Let's go deeper. I don't know what you've been through, but I do know this: your pain has not gone unnoticed. Your tears have not been wasted. There is a divine shift happening, and it's not just around you, it's within you. The world may not understand it. Some people may have walked away from you when you were at your lowest, but what they failed to realize is that you were being preserved, not punished. You weren't being rejected, you were being refined. This moment is for every soul who has quietly suffered, who has faithfully waited, who has dared to believe that God is still writing their story. Here at Spiritual Journals, we dive into the kind of truth that doesn't just sound good, it shifts atmospheres. We go to the Word of God, the living Bible, to uncover wisdom for your spiritual growth and purpose. So if this resonates with you, I invite you to subscribe to Spiritual Journals and turn on notifications so you never miss a moment of what God is doing. Together, we are spreading His Word, lifting one another, and stepping boldly into divine destiny. Thank you for being here. Thank you for holding on. Thank you for walking this journey of faith with us. Now let's step into the truth that's about to change everything.
You were sent, not stumbled. That truth may seem simple, but when it grips your heart, it changes everything. You are not a wandering soul lost in the chaos of life. You are a chosen one, intentionally placed by the hands of a sovereign God who makes no mistakes. Before you ever took your first breath, heaven had already drawn the outline of your life. Psalm 139:16 reminds us, all the days ordained for me were written in your book before one of them came to be. You see, God is not watching your story like a bystander. He is the author, the architect, the one who is working behind the curtain, designing moments of transformation, healing, and breakthrough just for you. When it feels like life has tossed you into unexpected places, know this: you didn't land there, you were sent. That job you took out of desperation, that city you moved to in search of peace, even that hospital room, that courtroom, that lonely apartment, none of it was by accident. God's GPS doesn't glitch. He sees every twist and turn, and even the detours are woven into your destiny. Romans 8:28 tells us, and we know that all things work together for good to those who love God, to those who are the called according to His purpose. You are called, you are chosen, and nothing, absolutely nothing is wasted when it's in God's hands. Sometimes the hardest seasons feel like abandonment, but they're actually alignment. You think you've been stuck, but really you've been stationed, positioned in quiet places so God could speak to you without the noise of the crowd. Look at Joseph, sold by his brothers, forgotten in prison, accused of what he didn't do, but even in the pit, he was never forgotten. God used what looked like delay to position Joseph for the palace. The same God who elevated Joseph is watching over you with the same precision and purpose. Chosen ones aren't overlooked, they're hidden until it's time to be revealed. Maybe you've cried silent tears wondering why here, why now? But beloved, sometimes God places you in barren land so you can plant something new, something no one's ever grown there before, something miraculous. Isaiah 43:19 promises, see, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? You are not behind schedule. You are on holy ground. The fact that you're still standing after what tried to break you is proof that God is still working. Let this soak in. The pain didn't disqualify you. It prepared you. The people who left didn't end your story. They made space for those who are meant to run beside you in this next season. You didn't stumble into purpose. You were escorted into this very moment by divine angels. And if you could see what's happening in the spiritual realm, you'd understand why the warfare has been so fierce. Hell fights hardest when heaven is about to release something major. And for chosen ones, the attacks are not punishment, they're confirmation. Even in your darkest hour, God has been attentive. Psalm 34:18 reminds us the Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. Maybe you've questioned your worth. Maybe your past is trying to whisper lies to your future, but hear this clearly. Your past is not greater than God's promise. You are not who your mistakes say you are. You are who God says you are, called, beloved, set apart. And here's something fresh to consider. Every place you've ever walked, physically, emotionally, spiritually, you've been sowing something. Your prayers, even the ones prayed in pain, are seeds. Your tears are not forgotten. They've been watering the soil of your future. Galatians 6:9 encourages us, let us not grow weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. Your harvest is coming. Your story is still unfolding. And the next chapter, it's going to make sense of every single thing that once felt like a mess. So what do you do while you wait? You worship. You speak God's word over your life. You walk like the chosen one you are. Try something different today. Take a walk around your home and declare aloud, I was sent here for purpose. God is not done with me. My presence carries power. I am aligned with heaven. Feel awkward? Good. It means you're stepping into new spiritual territory. And as you speak, you'll begin to shift the atmosphere. Heaven responds to bold faith. You may feel small, but the God inside you is not. Chosen ones carry divine authority, not because we're perfect, but because we're surrendered. And when God sends you, no weapon formed against you can prosper. The pain you endured wasn't proof that God abandoned you. It was proof that hell tried and failed. You're still here, still breathing, still believing, and that's dangerous to the enemy. This is more than a motivational word. This is a heavenly alert, a reminder that every step you've taken has been seen by the one who never sleeps. He has counted your tears, held your hand through silent nights, and whispered destiny when you were drowning in doubt. He didn't send you into the storm to watch you sink. He sent you through the storm so you could walk on water and tell others, I made it. And so will you. You didn't stumble here. You were sent. And if you're feeling that deep tug in your spirit, if these words found you exactly when you needed them, then let heaven mark this moment. Comment below, I receive this as confirmation. I am a chosen one. Your faith is not invisible to God. It's the very thing He's been waiting for. And today, He's releasing fresh wind over your life. Chosen one, your story matters. Your presence carries weight. Your future is drenched in promise. Now walk like you believe it. Heaven has already said yes.
The shift has already begun. And it's not just happening around you. It's unfolding deep within you. You may have sensed it in the quiet moments. You may have felt a strange tension lately, like something inside you is stretching, expanding, waking up. That's not your imagination. That's heaven signaling your upgrade. You're not just evolving. You're being repositioned by God for something sacred, something eternal, something faith-based. And this kind of shift cannot be explained through logic alone. It must be discerned through the Spirit. You see, chosen ones don't go through ordinary transitions. Your journey isn't like everyone else's. What others call coincidence, you recognize as divine orchestration. What they dismiss as a coincidence, your soul knows was a divine setup. This faith-based transformation is evidence that you've stepped into a new season, a sacred season, where everything is being rearranged for your good. Romans 12:2 says, "Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind." That's exactly what's happening. Your mind is clearing. Your heart is healing. Your identity is solidifying. And all of it is happening because heaven is making room for your next. The shift doesn't always come with trumpets and fireworks. Sometimes it starts with tears, with tiredness, with a whisper in the middle of the night that says, "You're not who you used to be." And even though you may not have all the answers, you feel something undeniable pulling you forward. That's divine alignment. God is awakening parts of you that were dormant.
dreams you had forgotten, and strength you didn't even know you carried. And guess what? It's not random. It's on purpose. This is the season where God is reintroducing you to yourself. Not the version they hurt, not the version they left, but the version He refined in the fire. Zechariah 13:9 speaks to this. I will refine them like silver and test them like gold. They will call on my name and I will answer them. That's what you've been walking through. Refinement. And now the impurities are falling away, and what's left is pure, radiant, powerful faith-based purpose. You don't look like what you've been through, because what you went through wasn't meant to break you. It was meant to reveal what God had already placed in you. Some people only know the old version of you, the one who doubted, the one who people pleased, the one who didn't recognize their own worth. But that version no longer exists. Heaven buried her. And what's emerging now is someone who's aligned, anointed, and aware of her divine identity. Don't be surprised if old spaces no longer feel comfortable. Don't be shocked when you feel disconnected from familiar voices. That's not rejection. That's elevation. God is making sure you don't stay in rooms that are too small for your calling. There's a deep healing happening too. Emotional wounds are being addressed. Not just covered up, but truly confronted and healed. You're no longer running from your past, you're redeeming it. Isaiah 61:3 promises a crown of beauty instead of ashes, the oil of joy instead of mourning, and a garment of praise instead of a spirit of despair. You are trading trauma for testimony, grief for grace. You are stepping into a new level of faith-based wholeness that allows you to move forward without fear. And let's talk about the spiritual pressure you've been feeling, that weight on your chest, the tension in your spirit. It's not punishment, it's preparation. The enemy sees what's happening too. He recognizes that you're no longer easy to manipulate. He knows your discernment is rising. He can feel your prayers carrying fire again. And that's why the warfare has been intense. But take heart. The pressure you're under is proof that the anointing on your life is growing. Psalm 18:39 says, You armed me with strength for battle. You humbled my adversaries before me. God is not just equipping you for the shift, He's making you a warrior in the midst of it. This is a faith-based walk. That means even when you don't see the outcome, you trust the process. Even when the path is unfamiliar, you take the next step. And right now, heaven is asking you to walk with boldness. Not arrogance, but holy confidence. Confidence that says, God sent me here, and He didn't send me empty. You are carrying oil, wisdom, glory. You are the answer to someone's prayer. And this shift isn't just about you. It's about the lives your obedience will unlock. Maybe you've been questioning whether you're qualified. Let me remind you, God doesn't call the qualified. He qualifies the called. And if you've been hearing the same whispers in your heart that say move, speak, create, lead, then that's God confirming that this shift is real. It's time. Don't wait for others to affirm what God has already announced. Don't wait for permission when heaven has already said yes. As you navigate this transformation, I want to encourage you to do something powerful and symbolic. Create a faith altar in your home. It doesn't have to be fancy, just a quiet corner with your Bible, a journal, a candle, and space where you can meet with God daily. Let that place become your sacred ground, where you pour out your heart, where you write down the things you're hearing, where you let the shift settle deeper into your soul. Make it a habit, build consistency, because faith-based living isn't just about moments of inspiration, it's about intimacy with God. This shift is awakening your creativity, your voice, your authority. It's time to start writing again, singing again, praying like you used to, dreaming like you used to, laughing again without guilt, loving yourself again without hesitation. Because this new season won't require the version of you that was surviving. It will require the version of you that is thriving. You're not just breaking cycles, you're creating new cycles. Generational curses are being reversed through your obedience. Old patterns are crumbling because you refuse to repeat them. You are the interruption your bloodline needed. You are the reason future generations will live differently. And the shift? It's not a phase. It's a divine promotion. Let me leave you with this. Philippians 1:6 says, "Being confident of this, that he who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion." God didn't start this shift in you to abandon it halfway. He will finish what he started. And when he does, it will be a testimony for the ages. If this word confirmed what your spirit already knew, then don't let it pass by quietly. Mark this moment in faith. Comment below, "God, I welcome this shift. I receive your blessing." Speak it, declare it, because your words carry weight, and your blessing is waiting on your agreement. Chosen one, this is your time. Walk boldly into the shift. Heaven is backing you, and nothing will ever be the same again.
The narcissist is watching and losing. They didn't see it coming. They thought the lies would last, that the manipulation would continue to work. They believed they could gaslight you forever, that their power over your mind and emotions was unshakable. But they underestimated the God who lives inside you. They forgot that this journey was never just about survival, it was about revival. And what they tried to destroy, God rebuilt stronger, deeper, and more radiant than before. You didn't just bounce back, you rose with a new kind of fire. And now your very existence is their reminder that they lost a battle they never had the authority to win. This is the power of Christian motivation, when your strength comes not from bitterness or vengeance, but from healing, restoration, and divine identity. They never expected you to grow in the silence. While they were crafting stories behind your back, heaven was rewriting yours. While they were plotting your downfall, God was planning your deliverance. Psalm 23:5 says, "You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup overflows." That's your reality now. The table is being set. The overflow is coming. And the ones who thought they held your story's ending are forced to watch the next chapter unfold without access. You see, real power isn't loud. It doesn't need an announcement. It's in the quiet decisions, in the daily choices to rise above offense, to protect your peace, to let God be your defender. That's where the shift began. You didn't argue back. You didn't prove your worth with words. You simply healed. You prayed through the betrayal. You worshiped through the heartbreak. You stayed faithful in a season that felt unfair. And that, beloved, is power. Proverbs 16:7 reminds us, "When a man's ways please the Lord, he makes even his enemies to be at peace with him." And now, that's exactly what's happening. They can't touch you because God covered you. The enemy's favorite tactic is to make you believe you're powerless, but Christian motivation is birthed in the exact opposite. It's knowing that Christ lives in you, that the same Spirit who raised Jesus from the dead is working in your life. That means no narcissist, no manipulator, no deceiver has the final say over your story. Romans 8:31 says, "If God is for us, who can be against us?" That's not a rhetorical question, it's a divine promise. You are not a victim of their control. You're a vessel of God's grace, and that grace has been rebuilding you from the inside out. Let's take a different perspective for a moment.
Sometimes the hardest thing isn't walking away, it's staying gone. It's refusing to return to the comfort of chaos, to the illusion of affection that was really a cage. And that's where Christian motivation becomes your compass. When your soul is tempted to settle, the Spirit gently reminds you of how far you've come. That's what makes your healing so powerful. You didn't just leave their toxicity, you left the mindset that told you it was love. You left the pattern that kept you apologizing for your light. You left the guilt that made you question your worth. And now, you're free. Freedom has a fragrance. It's the smell of peace in your morning prayers. It's the sound of laughter you thought you lost. It's the confidence in your voice when you say no without guilt. It's the stillness in your heart when you realize you don't miss them, you miss who you thought they were. But even that realization is holy ground, because it shows that your discernment has matured. You're no longer chasing potential, you're walking in promise. And the truth is, they see it, they feel it. Your glow makes them uncomfortable because it exposes what they failed to heal in themselves. Let me speak directly to your spirit. You don't owe them a response. You don't need to defend your peace. You don't have to revisit the pain to validate your growth. God saw everything. The tears you cried in silence, the apologies you made just to keep the peace, the dreams you deferred trying to make it work. And now, He's restoring everything. Joel 2:25 says, "I will restore to you the years the locust has eaten." This isn't just about recovery, it's about recompense. It's about walking into blessings that were delayed, not denied. And here's a fresh invitation for your healing journey. Write a letter to your old self, the version of you that tolerated the manipulation, who tried so hard to be enough for someone who was never satisfied. Write to her with grace. Tell her what you've learned. Tell her she didn't fail. She was faithful. She was brave. And now she's free. This activity isn't for closure with them. It's for peace with yourself. It's a faith-based declaration that your past no longer has power over your future. You are no longer defined by the dysfunction. You are defined by the deliverance, by the God who called you out, who lifted your chin, who whispered, "You are still mine," when you felt used and discarded. Isaiah 43:1 says, "Fear not, for I have redeemed you. I have called you by name. You are mine." That's the anchor of your identity. Not their opinion, not their version of the story, just His name written over your life in love. And now, the narcissist watches, not with concern, but with confusion, because everything they thought would destroy you has only made you stronger. You're flourishing in the very place they tried to bury you. Your smile is no longer fake. Your peace is no longer forced. Your strength is no longer masked as silence. It's boldly rooted in faith, and that's what makes you untouchable. So stand tall, beloved. Keep glowing. Keep growing. Let your story speak louder than your response. God is not finished with you. He's just getting started. And the next season will be so full of joy, clarity, and divine surprises that you'll look back and thank Him not just for what He healed, but for what He removed. If this message resonates with your spirit, comment below, "God, thank you for my healing. I receive your blessing." Let heaven see your agreement. Let hell know it lost. And let your soul rest in the assurance that Christian motivation isn't just about moving forward, it's about moving forward with God. You're no longer in the hands of those who hurt you. You're held by the one who heals you. And that, chosen one, is the most powerful shift of all.
Delays were not denials. They were design. Let me speak this into your soul again and let it settle this time. The delay wasn't punishment. It was design. You were not forgotten, not overlooked, not left behind. You were being positioned, pruned, and prepared by the hands of a loving God who sees beyond your current season. Every no was a better yes in disguise. Every closed door was not rejection, it was redirection. Every silent season was God whispering, "Hold on, I'm building something bigger." What you call delay, heaven called development. And if you can look at it now with the growth mindset, you'll see it clearly. The detour was divine. Sometimes God hides you because He's growing you. He keeps you behind the curtain not because you're not ready to shine, but because He's still writing the script. And if He revealed you too early, the weight of the stage would crush the strength of your soul. But you've been learning, you've been listening, and whether you realize it or not, you've been growing through the wait. That's what a growth mindset anchored in faith looks like. It's choosing to believe that waiting is not wasting, that what looks like stagnation on the surface is actually transformation in the spirit. Let's be honest, delays can be painful. They can bring questions that sound like doubt. Did I miss it? Did I fail? Did God change His mind about me? But those are the moments when God is inviting you to lean in closer. Psalm 27:14 reminds us, "Wait for the Lord, be strong and take heart, and wait for the Lord." That's not just a suggestion, it's a lifeline. God knows that in the delay, you learn trust. In the delay, you cultivate perseverance. In the delay, your roots grow deep enough to support the weight of the fruit that's coming. Having a growth mindset means seeing waiting as a classroom. And in that classroom, God teaches you how to worship without the applause, how to obey without the outcome, how to stay faithful when nothing feels fair. Joseph knew about delays. Betrayed by his brothers, sold into slavery, imprisoned for something he didn't do, and yet in every pause, God was preparing him. When Pharaoh finally called his name, Joseph was not only ready, he was refined. Genesis 50:20 captures the revelation. You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good, to accomplish what is now being done. You see, growth happens when we stop resenting the delay and start recognizing the design. Maybe right now you're in a place that feels stuck. You've been praying, sowing, giving, believing, and still nothing seems to move. But what if this is the stretch before the breakthrough? What if God is not ignoring your prayers, but anchoring your purpose? What if the silence is not a rejection, but a sacred stillness where He's revealing your real strength? The Bible is full of moments when God allowed the delay to become the very platform for deliverance. Sarah waited years for Isaac. David waited years to become king. Even Jesus waited 30 years before stepping into His public ministry. But none of them were behind. They were right on time, heaven's time. When we adopt a growth mindset rooted in God's promises, we stop measuring progress by speed. We begin to measure by surrender. You weren't being punished, you were being protected. That relationship you cried over, God knew it would distract you. That opportunity you thought you needed, God knew it would pull you off course. That no that shook your confidence, God knew it would lead to a better yes. He's not just preparing the blessing, He's preparing you to sustain it. Because breakthrough without maturity becomes a burden, and God loves you too much to give you something before you're ready to carry it well. This is a holy invitation to shift your lens. Instead of asking, why is this taking so long? Start asking, what is God building in me while I wait? Journal it, pray about it, sit with it. This kind of mindset doesn't happen overnight, but it will shift everything. Start speaking over your life. This pause has purpose. This delay is divine. I'm being strengthened for something greater. The enemy wants you to believe that nothing is happening, but God is always working, especially in the unseen. Isaiah 60:22 reminds us, when the time is right, I, the Lord, will make it happen. He didn't say when you feel ready. He said when He knows the time is right. Here's a simple but powerful activity to help anchor your heart during delays. Create a promise wall. Write down scriptures, prophecies, dreams, and moments where you knew God was speaking to you. Put them on sticky notes, pin them to your mirror, tape them to your fridge. Every time doubt whispers, let those promises shout louder. This is how you train your spirit to hope again. This is how you practice a growth mindset fueled by heaven. You've come too far to quit now. The waiting wasn't meant to break you. It was meant to bless you. James 1:4 declares, "Let perseverance finish its work, so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything." That's what's happening right now. God is finishing the work in you. He's not rushing your story, He's perfecting it. So lift your head, straighten your shoulders. This delay is not denial. This is the divine blueprint being drawn with precision. You are still in the palm of His hand, and soon the very doors that were closed will swing open, not just because you knocked, but because God said it's time. The reward is coming, not just because you waited, but because you waited well, because you held your peace when you could have retaliated, because you stayed soft when you could have become bitter, because you kept showing up with faith even when nothing made sense. If this word speaks to your heart today, don't scroll by. Comment below, "God, I trust your timing. I receive your blessing." Let your agreement mark this moment. Let your faith declare that you believe the delay has been designed. Because, chosen one, your table is being set. And when God brings you into what's next, it'll be clear to everyone, you weren't delayed, you were developed. You weren't denied, you were destined. And now the reward will match the weight of your waiting. Get ready, you're right on time.
You are the sign they never expected. Not because you were loud, not because you tried to prove yourself, but because you healed when no one thought you would, because you rose when others assumed you'd stay buried, because you chose purpose over pain and mindfulness over bitterness. What they saw as your breakdown was really the birthplace of your breakthrough. And now your very presence announces that God is real, active, intentional, and not done showing off through your life. You see, chosen ones like you were never meant to just exist. You were designed to shift atmospheres, to carry a light so bold that it reveals what's been hiding in the shadows. You were set apart not to impress people, but to impact generations. And what's coming next? It's not just for your benefit. It's a public unveiling of what heaven has been preparing privately. You carry a birthright of abundance, not because you earned it, but because you were destined for it. Romans 8:17 says, "Now if we are children, then we are heirs, heirs of God and co-heirs with Christ." That means influence, peace, wisdom, and provision are not just hopes for you, they are part of your spiritual inheritance. But here's the key. They manifest when you live with mindfulness, when you stay present with God, when you stop striving and start receiving, when you let your story be a source of strength instead of shame. Mindfulness in the kingdom is more than just being aware. It's being awake to the move of God in the moment. It's recognizing that what seemed small was sacred, that your tears weren't wasted, they were watering destiny, that the seasons you thought were setbacks were actually sacred classrooms where God taught you resilience, discernment, and peace. Isaiah 26:3 reminds us, "You will keep in perfect peace those whose minds are steadfast because they trust in you." That's what you're stepping into. Peace that's not shaken by chaos, favor that's not tied to applause, and joy that's not dependent on circumstances. Let's take a moment and get real about what you've walked through. Because no one just arrives at this level of clarity and anointing. You were forged through pain. You were built in the silence. You didn't just survive abuse, loss, betrayal, disappointment. You allowed God to transform it into wisdom. That's why you walk differently now. You speak with more compassion. You love with more intentionality. You no longer ignore red flags or shrink to keep the peace. That's not pride. That's transformation. And the people who once counted you out,
they're about to see that what they tried to label as your end was actually your empowerment. Your pain has become a blueprint. The very moments you thought would disqualify you are the ones God is using to make you a mentor, a guide, a safe place for others. 2 Corinthians 1:4 says, "He comforts us in all our troubles, so that we can comfort those in any trouble with the comfort we ourselves receive from God." Your story is about to become someone else's survival map. Your healing is going to unlock healing in those around you. You're not just stepping into restoration, you're stepping into legacy, the kind that breaks cycles and births new beginnings. There's something about living mindfully with God that changes how you see everything. Instead of asking, "Why me?" you start asking, "What now, God?" You begin to understand that nothing in your life is wasted. Every encounter, every delay, every heartbreak, it was all part of the divine equation. When you stay mindful of God's presence, you become more sensitive to His promptings. You move with precision. You rest in confidence. You speak with authority that isn't loud, but undeniable. Here's a new idea to help you stay anchored in this mindfulness. Create a glory journal. It's not just a gratitude list. It's a living record of the moments God showed up, even in small ways. Write down the prayers He answered, the dreams He rekindled, the peace He gave you when you should have broken. On the days when the enemy whispers that nothing is changing, go back to those pages and remind your spirit that you've already seen too much of God's goodness to doubt now. You're not here to play small. You were preserved for such a time as this. You were hidden so you could be healed. And now, your life is a signpost of what happens when someone refuses to let bitterness win, when someone chooses the narrow road, when someone trades comfort for calling. The blessings that are about to flow into your life won't just elevate you, they'll awaken something in the people around you. They'll be drawn to your peace. They'll ask you how you made it, and you'll get to say, "God, only God." Psalm 43 says, "He put a new song in my mouth, a hymn of praise to our God. Many will see and fear and put their trust in the Lord." That's the season you're entering, a season where your testimony becomes a catalyst, where your presence opens up spiritual doors, where people feel safer, stronger, and more hopeful simply because you're near. Don't minimize what you carry. Don't apologize for how far you've come. You didn't just get lucky. You were lifted. You were chosen. And everything that's about to happen, every opportunity, every divine connection, every breakthrough, it was all part of the plan. And now, it's harvest time. You are the sign they never expected. The one who came back wiser, kinder, more powerful. The one who refused to let trauma become your identity. The one who walked away without bitterness and chose healing instead. That makes you dangerous in the best way, because now you walk in truth. You love from wholeness. You live on purpose. If this word stirred something in your heart, don't keep it silent. Comment below, "I receive the legacy. I welcome the blessing. I choose mindfulness with God." Let that declaration be your agreement. Let heaven hear it. Let the enemy know you're not just surviving anymore, you're rising. You are the sign, the proof, the evidence that God still turns ashes into beauty, the embodiment of purpose over pain. And this next chapter, it's going to show everyone what happens when someone finally realizes they were born to shift the world, not just live in it. Get ready. You're about to shine in ways no one saw coming. So hear me with your spirit, not just your ears.
This is not the end. This is the emergence. Every hardship, every heartbreak, every hidden prayer, they have been seen, heard, and held. You're not chasing anything. You've already been chosen, and God is about to make that undeniable. Your breakthrough is not just coming, it's already in motion. Hold your head high. The promise still holds. The pain still has purpose. The tables are already turning. As someone who's walked through quiet seasons of waiting and wondered if God still remembered my name, I can tell you this from my heart. He does. He remembers every moment you chose faith when fear made more sense. He sees the nights you stayed soft in a world that tried to harden you. That kind of surrender moves heaven. I am so thankful you showed up today. Your time here matters. This word was for you, and I pray it wraps around you like peace. At Spiritual Journals, we are building a space where faith meets healing, where biblical truth meets real-life strength, and where guided meditation and prayer become tools to hear God's voice more clearly. If you felt the presence of God in this video, please like it so others can be reached by it too. Share it with someone who needs this word. And most importantly, subscribe to Spiritual Journals so we can keep walking this journey together, one prayer, one promise, one step at a time. Before you go, I invite you to comment below, "It was never random. I'm rising." Let it be your public agreement with heaven. And now may the Lord bless you, keep you, strengthen you, and go before you in ways you never expected. Your next chapter is holy. Walk in it. You're not just seen, you're sent. Let it be so.